Stephen Carroll is back with us on set. Welcome back, Stephen.
Hello,
Let's
Gemma.
start in Japan, where key trade figures have shown another challenge for the world's third largest economy.
Yeah, big changes in Japan's economy in recent times. These figures to do with the trade deficit, the value of the country's imports over its exports, and that widening gap, in fact, increased fourfold almost over the past year. These latest figures showing the value of exports rose by 10.8%, but the value of imports soared even further, over 17%. That's largely down to the amount of energy that Japan has to import. This in the wake of the Fukushima nuclear disaster. It's left that trade deficit ballooned at almost $14 billion. Just another challenge facing Prime Minister Shinzo Abe as he tries to really restart Japan's sluggish economy after so many years of shrinking growth.
And has that had any impact on the markets?
No direct impact in trading in Tokyo. The Nikkei actually did rise after those figures came out earlier in the day, but closed at the end of the trading day flat. We've seen the Shanghai Composite actually fall pretty sharply towards the end of the trading day there in Shanghai, down over 1.4%, as you can see now, with shares in Seoul just touching into the red. Concerns over Ukraine said to be weighing on investors' minds this Easter Monday, but a pretty light day's trading in general. Markets in Europe closed, of course, today.
And moving on to companies now, and Ukrainian banks are being affected by the tensions with Russia. No surprise there.
Yeah, the Russian Central Bank has now barred 4 Ukrainian lenders from operating in Crimea. The banks affected include Private Bank and Imex Bank. Moscow said they had failed to fulfill their obligations to creditors in the peninsula, which was annexed by Russia last month. The American pharmaceutical giant Pfizer is said to be considering offering more than $100 billion to buy the British drug manufacturer AstraZeneca. The Sunday Times newspaper says Pfizer has made a preliminary takeover bid for the firm. AstraZeneca is the UK's second largest pharmaceutical company and is valued at some $80 billion. And the Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera is said to be ready to give away 20 million free copies on one day ahead of the European elections in May. The stunt will celebrate Italy's economic recovery with a special edition as the paper seeks new print and online subscriptions. Considered Italy's newspaper of record, it's been hit by falling advertising revenues in recent years, but the parent company narrowly avoided bankruptcy last year.
Here in France next, where a growing number of small companies are taking on an international brand, a big bad wolf.
Yeah, you don't get much bigger than Coca-Cola when it comes to brands, but there are some in France who say that they can compete. They're using their regional roots to gain local consumers first, with some producers making as much as 10 million bottles a year. Josh Vardy has the story.
It's not quite a household name, but this regionally produced French cola is ready to take on the sector leaders. Last year, it muscled its way onto the shelves of over 200 Paris region supermarkets. A victory for the small producer based in Brittany, western France. Up until recently, this was just a local cola. Now, 10 million bottles are produced here at the factory every year. Luckily for Stéphane Cardode, when he started the business over 13 years ago, he already had a distribution network in place. Before making cola, he worked in a brewery.
Thanks to the support of my distributors, my clients from before believed in us, and they knew there was a gap in the market for a new type of cola.
In Brittany, this locally made drink isn't selling quite as much as market leaders Coca-Cola, but they have taken over Pepsi to be the second favourite of the region. Even though sales of cola in France are reasonably small compared with global figures, it's still the non-alcoholic drink of choice. Well, one brand of cola is at least. Coca-Cola has over 50% of the French market in all non-alcoholic drinks, and it's that huge share regional producers hope to chip away at. However, it's hard work challenging the well-established giants, as Jean-Claude Delforge is finding out. This mechanic has also decided to face the challenge of launching his own drink. He struck a deal with the local lemonade factory to produce his cola, but from then on he's forced to do everything solo, from distribution to delivery to marketing. An optimistic one-man band taking on some of the biggest brands in the world.
Finally, some of the world's biggest online betting sites stopped working over the weekend for one very unusual reason.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing so much about cyber attacks in recent weeks, Heartbleed being the most recent of them, but in fact it was a simple fire in a power station in Gibraltar that knocked the trading sites for betting companies like Ladbrokes and William Hill offline over the weekend. These are the photos posted on the William Hill Twitter account over the weekend of the fire at the power station, which started, police say, because of a mechanical fault. The outages lasted up to 6 hours in some cases of those betting sites. There are 26 betting firms based in Gibraltar, mainly because of the low taxes. A spokesman for William Hill apologised to consumers, saying that some will claim they missed out on backing winners, but others were saved from backing losers. So not a losing situation for all.
That's true. A win-win, lose-lose. All right. Thank you very much, Stephen Carroll there with the business news. And now it's time to take a look at the world's newspapers. Today, Colin G. Brown is back. More revelations.